You could argue the nation needs something to celebrate just now, and the Queen's Platinum Jubilee could hardly have come at a better time. The Archbishop of Canterbury agreed to give us an interview to talk about all of this, and we'll come to his wider sentiments in just a moment. But his comments about Prince Andrew are causing significant controversy tonight. This is how the conversation went.
You know, the Christian church is all about forgiveness, as you know, not all about, but it's a sort of
you could say it was pretty central.
It was pretty central. And, you know, not very long ago, she walked down the aisle at a service with Prince Andrew on her arm. I think people were very angry about that. There's a sort of question of, you know, does he play any part? Do you think as a nation we need to be forgiving of him, or do we rightfully say, do you know what, we never want to see you in public again? Where should the public sit and where should the monarchy sit on this issue?
I think, again, I'm not going to discuss, I don't do sort of pastoral stuff in public, as it were.
No, sure, but it is a matter about, I suppose what I'm asking you is, how would you advise the public? You know, he is a member of the royal family. He's done things that people, you know, exactly what he has and hasn't done, but at the very least, who he was publicly seen with is a matter of very grave public anger. How do we respond to that?
I think we respond to that in two ways. First of all, someone of 96 at a big public occasion is fully entitled to have one of her children supporting her. You know, that seems a very reasonable thing. Let's get it away from the personality of the Duke of York and simply look at the Queen's position. Secondly, forgiveness really does matter. I think we have become a very, very unforgiving society. There's a difference between consequences and forgiveness. And again, I'm not going to go into the particular issues here or talk particularly about them, but I think for all of us, one of the ways that we celebrate when we come together is in learning to be a more open and forgiving society. Now, with Prince Andrew, that is a particular case, and I think we all have to step back a bit and wait to see what happens, and he's seeking to make amends, and I think that's a very good thing. But you can't tell people how they're to respond about this, and the issues of the past in the area of abuse are so intensely personal and private for so many people. It's not surprising there's very deep feelings indeed. But as to the service at Westminster Abbey, I mean, she was remembering her husband of 70-something years. Surely, as human beings, we can say it's a good thing that one of her children was steadying her at that moment. I mean, what a strain for her. She needed every bit of support she could get.
I guess some people would say she could have been advised by people around her. She has other children.
She could. I have no idea what advice was given. And if I did know, I wouldn't say. But I start with the experience of, as a parish priest, 700 or something funerals that I've taken in my life. I start by thinking of some of those where, in some of the places I worked, there were people who turned up accompanied by a prison officer, you know, who'd done really serious things. But there's a moment where people are facing the whole issue of eternity and death and bereavement. where it is reasonable that they get all the support they should get.
On the Jubilee itself, on the Queen herself, the Archbishop was on much less controversial ground.
She is probably the most trusted person in the country and has been for many, many years. It is something extraordinary to celebrate. And if we go back, 1952 was a pretty rough time for a very large number of people. We were in the middle of the Korean War. The Cold War was reaching its most intense period. People were very anxious about nuclear warfare. The Queen has gone from that moment to this moment as the one point of absolute consistency in the life of the nation. And that is, I think it's a golden thread that runs through 70 years. And to celebrate that is a great thing. I think it will lift people's spirit.